afternoon, guys and dolls. It is Thursday. We've got a football game to watch tonight. A real barn burner. Giants against the Patriots tonight. That's going to be another sweet matchup for the New England Patriots. Let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. Today we are simulcasting live on Get Vocal, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. We're doing it all today. It's an all-around. And I see the notifications coming in. Let me jump over to Facebook and see the comments as well. I want to make sure we're keeping up with you guys. Yeah, notifications coming through. Let me jump on that one. Notifications coming in. And turn off the and see. See, there you go. I want to turn off the sound though, because we don't need to do that. Nolan is here. Michael, Josh as well. It's good to see everybody. Glad to have Instagram on. Packers with a big matchup against the Lions coming very, very soon. Packers with a much needed extra day, but I'm going to say we're not getting official injury reports today due to the Monday night game. And we're going to talk about the Lions injury report as well, but I'm going to say I'm not expecting any Davante Adams this time around. Now, that was one of the topics of conversation is, if we get him back, I'm just not seeing it. I hope that's the case, but I'm just not seeing it as of right now. So the Packers, once again, and you're looking at, I've got up now Pro Football Focus's grades for these guys, and we're looking at a Lions defense that I've said is for real. I know that some disagree with me, and I know that it's very hard to say when it's the Lions anyway, but this is a good group. This is a really good group across the front seven, and they've got probably Darius Slay coming back now. I do have a full injury report. Mike Daniels did not practice with his ankle injury. And Damon Harrison also did not practice with an undisclosed injury. So they've got some deal, TJ Hawkinson, he is in concussion protocol, but he is on like step 4 of 5 right now. Step 5 is returning to full contact. So he will likely play. So a tight end that many in Packer Nation wanted in this year's draft is not coming our way necessarily. I see Snuffy MW Packers and Roderick on Instagram. Good to see you guys. I'll wave at a few people while we're at it as I fade off screen. But yeah, this is going to be a tough matchup. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park type of a game by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, we had LaFleur just get in there and do his press conference just a few minutes ago. And it does sound to me, we've talked about this a little bit, it does sound to me like this is a really collaborative effort. This is an offense that is collaborating. We've seen Aaron Rodgers really get excited now. He talked about how he loved this offense, how it was fun. And we were winning games, but we weren't playing good offensive football up until really, the Cowboys game. Now, against the Eagles, we moved the ball well through the air, but this is a team that I still think has yet to put everything together. We had a great game against the Cowboys, but we threw very little. We ran a lot. And LaFleur talked about riding the hot hand. And I know some of you like that idea. It has been a long time since we've had that sort of notion. Now, with that said, yesterday in the Facebook show, we had a comment that you got to get on that Aaron Jones horse and ride it. I'm still a little bit concerned. I still want to rotate a little bit because I don't want to wear Jones out. But, it's totally understandable because this guy can play right now. And against this front seven, you would expect maybe we're going to throw the ball a little bit more. But if they get Slay back as well, Coleman, their pickup of Coleman has been absolutely stellar. The slot cornerback, he's grading out at an 81.9 right now. And if they get Slay back, it's going to be a difficult situation for the Green Bay Packers without Davante Adams. Now, again, I don't know for sure. But I am not expecting Adams to play with that turf toe. So we'll see what happens with that. But, we've said it all along, and we have yet to see it. It was one of the few negatives. There weren't very many negatives other than maybe the play of Jair Alexander on defense, but he had the big interception early. And the play of what is our second-string wide receiver, a guy we've been looking for. We've been looking for Kumro to step up, MVS to step up, somebody to step up, and really become a true number 2 who would have to really perform as a number 1 right now with Adams out. We haven't gotten it yet. I think it is clearly MVS's time to shine right now. And I know some of you are with me on this because I don't think Geronimo Allison had a very good day. He is grading out at a 56.8 right now. Valdez-Scantling at a 59.6. Kumaro at a 51.4. And, it's very exciting to see an electrifying athlete and player like Aaron Jones be our leading receiver in a game again like the one we had against the Cowboys. But on the same token, where is our wide receivers? We had Jimmy Graham, a little action on Jimmy Graham. We had Robert Tonyan make the great catch. We had some really good game planning in this one. But we didn't see a lot out of MVS. He made the nice catch on the crossing route, double tap, and that's good to see. But none of these guys are putting together a game that says, hey, I'm stepping through this door. I want to be the number 2. And Geronimo Allison now is going to be facing Coleman on Monday night. And I don't expect Geronimo Allison to leap off the page Monday night. If he had his chance, it was probably last Sunday. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Kumaro? Is it going to be MVS finally? Or are we going to be back throwing the ball to the tight ends and our running back all day long? And hey, whatever works. But this is going to be a difficult game for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I had a notion. I've been starting to think through my prediction for this game. And I had a notion. I was starting to think we might be able to blow the doors off these guys. And it's always the potential is always there. If, say, Davante Adams, I'm really excited about this team when Davante Adams comes back. I think that it could be a special offense moving forward. Right now, I think this is a game in which the defense is really going to have to hold up for us. Offensively, we can go through the rest of the grades. Rodgers is grading out. I think I mentioned the offensive grades yesterday, but Rodgers is grading out at a 76.9 Pro Football Focus. Jones at a 75. A little bit of a small sample size. We were hoping we had gotten more out of him up until the Cowboys game, but that was a big-time breakout game for him. Across the offensive line, Lindsley, if he can get back out of concussion protocol, he's grading at a 58.9. Jenkins at a 65. Turner at a 53.6. Bulaga on the right, 74.9, our highest graded O-lineman, and Bakhtiari, of course, at 65.4, protecting Aaron Rodgers' backside. So, with Graham jumping up to a 61.3, Valdez-Scantling, and the wide receiver situation I've already mentioned. So, against the difficult, this is not going to be an easy game, like I said before, because you've got, strong in the middle against Corey Linsley, which I think this would be a great game for Corey Linsley to come back. He's graded out at a 35.2 right now. So the middle of that defense, really the worst aspect that they've got. But Okwara right now, 72.5. Kennard, 66.1. Trey Flowers, a 76.6. And that's their front 4. And then I said in the slot, they got Coleman at 81.9, grading out really well. The middle of the inside linebacker group I believe that's their base D. Davis is grading out at 29.4 and Wilson at a 68.2. I think we will have some opportunities with some crossing routes. I think the tight ends are going to come into play big time. And I think it might be tight ends. And again, Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield may be pretty big offensive factors in this particular game with what the Packers showed they could do against the Cowboys. And then, of course, moving forward, Matt LaFleur saying just ride the hot hand. Well, listen, if I'm looking at this wide receiver core right now, I'm not expecting to get a hot hand out of that. I love me some Jake Kumaro, but, the guy, he's not showing himself to be like a number 1-ish or a number 2 wide receiver right now. Valdez-Scantling, he has the potential as far as I'm concerned. And we had a little bit of that discussion. There's been a notion in Packer Nation that maybe Aaron Rodgers is losing the long ball. I don't think that's the case. I think he just hasn't quite dialed in just how fast Marquez Valdez-Scantling is quite yet. But I expect a lot out of Jimmy Graham. I expect another productive day out of Robert Tonyan when he's in there, and I expect Mercedes Lewis to have a catch or two. We will see how that works out, and Aaron Jones out of the backfield. This is going to be, I think, a day for Aaron Jones and that inside zone scheme again. Realistically, with the defensive back group that the Lions are going to field, and the fact that we, if I'm correct, and I think it's an outside chance at best that Davante Adams plays, but he is a tough guy. I'll give him all the credit in the world. He just needs to get healthy before he comes back. The last thing we need is for that injury to just follow him around all season. But for my money right now, this is going to be another Aaron Jones show. And that means that the middle of our O-line is going to have to perform as well as they did against the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys' defensive front is quite good as well. This is going to be another day for Elgton Jenkins to get out there and perform on the second level, in particular, Billy Turner to get out there and perform on the second level. This is the thing that we brought Billy Turner in here for. This is the thing that we drafted Elgton Jenkins for. Those big but long, but also athletic. And we talked about this when the Packers brought in Billy Turner. Billy Turner can move, baby. Pulp can move, baby. Some of you will know what that is from. But yeah, so there's the kind of Packers offense against the Lions defense, and not a lot of holes, but basically they're kind of, I think the middle of that line and the inside linebacker group is a group that we can exploit right now. I mean, when you have Aaron Jones and you've got Jimmy Graham, who is now performing quite well, and you've got, Robert Tonyan, who made a brilliant catch, an amazing catch, a beautiful Aaron Rodgers pass right down the sidelines. And then you've got Mercedes Lewis, who, contrary to last year when we just refused to use him, Lewis really becoming, not an integral part of the offense, but he's out there and he's generally performing each time he gets on the field. And of course, he's helping out with the run game. So what kind of a test is our defense going to face? We've got some really good, Montravius Adams right now grading out at a 31.4, which I tend to disagree with. I think this team is very happy to have Montravius Adams back, particularly for the run game. Jackson back there, he's played, that sort of hybrid safety role. I'm hoping that, Kevin King is okay. Jair Alexander bounces back, and we're going to still, I think, be able to function on the back end of that defense, because I got to believe that we're going to be without Darnell Savage in this game. Now, Savage, we think kind of dodged a bullet, but it's a high ankle sprain, which those are not great, but it's better news than I thought. It looked like an ACL to me. I've already mentioned that. But, if we can get on the perimeter and we can feel like, Adrian Amos can play single high for us and we can man up on the underneath, that really gives us a chance with, if we can get Oren Burks back in. He was in for a snap or two. I didn't get a snap count on him. I don't think I'll have time to actually look that up right now, but it was very, very limited, but a great step forward. We can get him in there because, listen, Matt Stafford, he is just slightly behind Aaron Rodgers right now, and he's playing top 10 ball, grading out at a 75.7 right now. Ragnow right in front of him is grading out really well. I've heard one particular podcaster in Packer Nation say that the Lions offensive line just sucks, like just really throw down on the Lions offensive line. The Lions offensive line does not suck. You ask any Lions fan right now, they are very happy with how their offensive line is performing right now. Decker at a 66.4, higher than David Bakhtiari. Dahl at a 65.1, similar to Bakhtiari. Ragnow, I mentioned, it's almost grading 75. Glasgow is grading at 82.6 right now. And I'm not going to break down the run versus pass necessarily, but Wagner over there at 59.5, probably the worst graded guy that they've got right now. And so you're looking at a matchup between Dahl and of course, Elgton Jenkins, and then Glasgow and Billy Turner. And that's going to be a big time couple of matchups to watch in this game to see whether we can duplicate the success that we had with Aaron Rodgers, or whether with Wagner not being quite as strong, we tend to lean toward outside zone when we're running to the right in this game. But listen, Golladay is balling out right now. He's grading at a 78.2. I don't have a bunch of his stats in terms of, touchdowns and yards, but Hall at a 68.3. And then, of course, Jones 77.6 out there. And we know they've got TJ Hawkinson, who's just a rookie, but he's grading out at a 62.7 right out of the gate. And Matthew Stafford is throwing the football well. They're distributing it well. Kerryon Johnson, I think he's grading at a 63. I mean, that's above average, but I think our defense can stop the run without having, I think we're still going to go like Mike Pettin likes to do. We're going to load up on the back end. I think we're going to see a lot of nickel and dime. And with the way that our defensive line, probably is going to have success. You'd expect Smith against Wagner to have some success. And if we can get them into third and longs, which I suspect we can, that's where I started to believe that this team really might be able to have some pretty solid success against the Detroit Lions. Kenny Clark back at 71.1 now. And we know we've got outside pass rush from the Smiths that's been working quite well. Tramon Williams right now is grading out at a 73.8 and playing really good football. Hopefully King remains healthy. I don't expect we're going to get Savage back. And let me see. That is our dime, according to him. Let's see what they've got. They've got Martinez at a 65.9 right now. Okay. And he's making good decisions. They're communicating well on defense. But, if we've got no Savage, that's going to take that'll be a little bit of a hit for us, without a doubt. Guys, I don't want to forget, and I almost did. It is Brett Favre's birthday today, I believe. Everybody put up a heart for Brett Favre. And I thought about this. I was hesitant to even mention it because, obviously we know Brett Favre did play for the Vikings for a while. Now, thankfully, he is back in the Packer Nation full. But I just got to thinking, and I'm not sure exactly how old Brett Favre is. I forgot to look it up. But he could probably still walk into camp and not even have to stretch and take over Kirk Cousins' position right now. I don't know how many teams in the league he could do that for, but he could do it for the Vikings. He could do it for the Jets. He could probably do it for the Buffalo Bills. He could do it for quite a few teams. He could step in. I'm surprised the Miami Dolphins haven't already talked to him. But happy birthday to Brett Favre. Forever young, man. The Iron Man himself. And Favre he was so fun to watch. So fun to watch. But I love where this team is going with its offense. And we talked a little bit about Aaron Rodgers. Of course, before the season, there was a little concern. And I am coming up with a theory. And I have one question that I would like to ask Aaron Rodgers, because a lot of people label him a diva. A lot of people talk about him as being arrogant. And I am now not buying that. What I think the most accurate, if I had a chance to ask Aaron Rodgers, I would just ask him if he's an introvert. I think he just he needs to have some time by himself. And folks like that oftentimes get labeled arrogant. And they get all these labels, and none of it's necessarily true, because Aaron Rodgers is apparently a super nice dude. He is nice and charitable and everything. But that is my new theory on it. And that is one question I'd like to talk to Aaron Rodgers about. So Aaron, give me a call, like you usually do during the week. All right. We are talking about the quarterback position. So let's go ahead and talk right now. Oh, I know one other thing I wanted to mention. The Packers made it to number 5 on the power rankings. We are moving up the charts. People are starting to notice a little bit. This game against the Lions, I think, is really going to be one of those games. If the Lions stay in it, even if they lose to the Green Bay Packers, they're still in pretty good shape. They've got us week 17 then in Detroit. They would then have to be considered for real, unless you want to say the Green Bay Packers aren't for real yet. If, on the other hand, the Packers can really lay a pounding on the Detroit Lions in this game, I think that would bode very well for the Green Bay Packers moving forward, partly, of course, because we've beaten all of our NFC division rival teams one time at least already this early in the season. I mean, this is the second game in the second quarter, and that would be fantastic. But the Packers are starting to get noticed, and I think this is a good team, because this is a good team to lay a whooping on at Lambeau Field, to really have confidence then when we have to play them in Detroit, because we have gone, like Owen, everybody's talked about 0-4 against the Detroit Lions, and I mentioned it too. But I really think that's like an apples to oranges comparison. This is not the same team. Some of those games were played without Aaron Rodgers at all. One of those he was hurting and taken out. Last year's last game didn't matter a bit. It's just not the same thing. And this is not the same offense. It's not the same defense. It's not the same special teams. I know there's some love out there for J.K. Scott. He is just absolutely, when the offense falters, he is such a breath of fresh air. And I have started, and I maybe need to keep holding my breath just to make sure I don't jinx anything here. But J.K. Scott steps on the field when we have kind of a rough offensive series, I'm kind of breathing easy. I'm like, I pretty much feel like no matter where the Packers end up with the ball, even if he's punting out of his own end zone, for crying out loud, I feel like, it's going to be the 20 or 25. And this guy just keeps performing, and it is rare. But when you see punters like we've got now in J.K. Scott, they are seriously important because of the battle for field position. We've talked about this last year when the Packers were losing. And he has become a real performer right now. And you know what? I think I'm going to take the time because I've got Pro Football Focus up, and I'm going to go ahead. Let's grade out JK while we're at it. I'm just going to let it roll here. Sometimes it fails. It's going to have to reload, but really has helped us out a great deal. That really makes the defense, when, again, we've seen games, and especially early in the season, we expected this. The offense stumbles a little bit. The offense isn't in sync. They're not quite ready because we're playing some really good defenses right out of the gate. And J.K. Scott, at least when the defense has to go in, and we've seen it where the defense has had to go in multiple times because the offense was stalled, J.K. Scott really gives us a chance to keep opponents out of scoring position. Most of the time, you get a quick turnover like that, you force a team to punt, you're at least figuring you're going to get 3 points out of it. Not when J.K. Scott is punting. It's like a full field all the time right now. And J.K. Scott, grading-wise, let me see here. I guess they've got it sorted by name. Let me see if I can sort this. Okay, so he is right now, it looks like 5th in the league, but his grade is at an 82.7. So he's probably the highest graded Packer player right now is J.K. Scott. Who'd have thunk it? We knew he had the potential. I mean, I think getting a good coaching staff for special teams was an underrated move by Mark Murphy. Well, actually, Matt LaFleur makes the position coach hires, I believe. But Murphy bringing in LaFleur and then LaFleur picking up the special teams coach, Menenga, incredibly important right now. We've seen a major difference in J.K. Scott. Of course, you've got to expect with punters, too, that they're going to take a second-year leap. But in terms of J.K. Scott right now, I did not expect it to be quite this good. Again, he is just absolutely balling right now. So special teams wise, I think we have taken a little bit of a hit without Trevor Davis, but having J.K. Scott and Mason Crosby has had a good season so far has been super important for the Green Bay Packers to be, as of right now, 4-1, and with a chance at home to go 5-1. The schedule is not a favorable one. I heard somebody say that ESPN had our schedule as like 16th in the league, 16th hardest schedule. I just want to say, give me a break. Do these people even look? I mean, I know the NFL bases it on like last year's winning percentage or something like that. But do these people even look at the teams we're talking about here? And I love Pack-A-Day podcast went through and broke down the defenses we were coming up against. And it is a spanking machine. That's how I've described it this year. This is a very, very tough schedule. It's just playoff team after playoff team after playoff team. And teams that were not playoff teams that look pretty good. Now, we've got Washington doesn't look good. The Giants, I don't believe in. I don't think they're for real just yet. But this is a difficult schedule. All right, let's take some comments here. I have to kind of look around the camera right now because I've got what have I done here? I don't even understand it. Alan is here. Patrick is here as well. Let's see what we've got. If I can find, it's not even going to be possible. Fidel is saying good morning to the Packer Nation family. Oh, I do have some announcements, by the way. I think we've got some good things coming. I can't give any super specifics right now, but I think we've got some good things coming, not just to my shows, but to Packer Nation in general. I think we're going to have some good stuff on the docket, and if the Packers keep winning, that just always helps. Always makes a week good when you're celebrating a Packers, Victory Monday. Hopefully we have another Victory Monday night because the Packers playing on Monday Night Football, and this puts them in sole position of the NFC, first place in the NFC North. really, I guess we're already there. But with that and the fact that we've knocked off all 3 division rivals, that's just a fantastic place to be when you're looking at, this is the sweet spot of our schedule if there is one. And the reason it's sweet is because we have all these home games. That's really the only advantage we've had so far. Taylor says, yeah, we still have Seattle, KC, Chargers, and our whole division. Again, we do not have Seattle, I believe. I do not think we have Seattle. But, yeah, that Chiefs and Chargers back-to-back away is really, really looking rough. And you want to front-load wins to make sure that you're in the best position you can. And the Packers, if they can win Monday night, they're going to be in really, really good position. Because, again, I said I don't believe in the Raiders just yet. I don't know that they're for real. They played a Bears team that had I don't know what – I didn't watch the Raiders-Bears. But Khalil Mack not having a sack, come on. I thought that was funny. But I still don't believe in the Raiders. So the Raiders, are another one on the schedule I feel like should be a win, and the Packers would be disappointed. Packer Nation would be pretty disappointed if we didn't win that game. But then you look at, that back-to-back run of Chiefs and Chargers. The Chargers do not look like they're anywhere near the team they were last year. You looked at this schedule, and they looked really rough. They looked like a really tough deal, a tough team to beat. Now, not so much. And the Chiefs are starting, with Patrick Mahomes, if he continues to be dinged up like this, it's going to be difficult for him to get healthy as a mobile quarterback. He likes to break the pocket a lot, contain. It could be difficult for Patrick Mahomes to get healthy, and we've seen what ankles can be. We've seen it with Mike Daniels, and he did not participate in practice again with the Lions. I would expect him to do everything he can to play in this game, of course, because he wants to, have a chance to sack Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to happen, but and Mike Daniels versus Aaron Jones will be very interesting in this one if Daniels does play. We want to see, because that's one of the things that's been a discussion in Packer Nation is, should the Packers have kept Mike Daniels because of his ability against the run and the fact that he is an interior D lineman that can also get to the quarterback. And I think he's had like 1 pressure and maybe 1 sack this year. He hasn't really performed that well. He still doesn't seem to be 100% healthy. And so I guess it still remains to be seen. But it would be interesting to see him versus Aaron Jones. But Aaron Jones just seems unstoppable right now. He was so unstoppable in that Cowboys game. I'm trying to think back to when I've seen a running back be that dominant. Guys, Aaron Jones waving at Byron Jones as he passed him. This is the contained man. This is the outside leverage always guy. And he is waving at him as he runs into the end zone. It almost takes my breath away. That performance, a 4-touchdown performance. Packers have only had a handful of guys able to do that in their history. And again, this wasn't against a slouch defense. So the transition to Elgton Jenkins at starter, we talked about how important an upgrade at left guard would be, whether it was Taylor or Jenkins. It is Jenkins, and he is an upgrade. The addition of Billy Turner and the fact that I think this offensive line is kind of figuring it out, and Matt LaFleur is figuring out what he's got in Aaron Jones. And I would be so tempted to just run Aaron Jones all over this Cowboys defense with that inside. I would lean again to the inside. Of course, they're going to do a little bit of both. And then it's going to open up the passing game. Now, I talked about before the Cowboys game that I thought maybe we needed to do a little draw action after throwing the ball around a little bit by the way that we performed against the Philadelphia Eagles and the banged up safety position of the Dallas Cowboys. It just turned out that all you needed to do was give the ball to Aaron Jones. And it didn't matter what the situation was. He was still going to win 9 times out of 10. Now we saw the negative. I think he got a little overconfident. You guys remember the negative. He was trying to be Barry Sanders back there. And the negative play or 2, and a couple times when he got stopped at the line of scrimmage. I expect the Lions stout front 7 to be able to do that once in a while. But listen, Aaron Jones gets into the backfield, into the second level on this team, and they do not have the inside linebacker group that the Dallas Cowboys have. And Aaron Jones embarrassed Vander Esch and Smith all night long. He embarrassed them. And if I'm Matt LaFleur and I'm looking at this game, this is a night game. It's important. It's a divisional game. You're without Devontae Adams. This, and LaFleur talked about this. He's said this constantly, and I love this about him. He said, listen, the game plan changes significantly from week to week because of the opponent we're facing. Well, this game plan, heart me up, cut and paste the Cowboys game plan, and we win this game. Now, if we get MVS makes a couple catches in this, and you get Jimmy Graham involved a little bit more, maybe in the red zone, because they ran a lot in the red zone. Of course, it was working. But this game could be a blowout if you cut and paste it. I mean, we put up 34, and we gave up 24. Now, Matt Stafford's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott threw some good balls. Now, not having Darnell Savage hurt us a little bit, and I think we can't expect this Matt Stafford. We can't expect our defense to entirely keep this Matt Stafford-led offense down. That's a pretty dang high-powered offense right there. They've got a lot of firepower, and they've got a good quarterback, and Darrell Bevell is moving Stafford around. He's not a statue back there. He's a moving target. So you're going to need, a healthy Zadarius Smith, hopefully. You're going to need Preston Smith out there doing what they do. You're going to need Kenny Clark to continue to perform. You want Kevin King and Jair Alexander because you're going to need them. I mean, they've got too many weapons, and I think their tight end situation, we saw a little bit of trouble when we played the Eagles with tight ends. But you got some, experience out of Jair Alexander, and, we've got it. It's just going to hurt us a little bit to not have Darnell Savage, I think. So I think they're going to look to really throw the ball. They may have to go away from the run sooner rather than later in this game. The Detroit Lions may. That's just all there is to it. Let me see if anybody's jumping on, get vocal here. But the Green Bay Packers, if I would be very for just cutting and pasting the Cowboys game plan, because frankly, I don't know what more the Lions would be able to do to stop it, because their inside linebacker group, Aaron Jones is going to make his money at that second level. And they've got a really good, defensive backfield, but give me a break. I mean, Aaron Jones can destroy the middle of that defense, I think. And when that happens, then so can Jimmy Graham. And so obviously you're going to want to have a little bit of a balance, but you're looking at a Matt LaFleur. This is a team that is not afraid. This is a coach that is not afraid when something is working to just drill it down the defense's throats. And then he does have a little anticipation, because as soon as they adjust, you don't want to wait until they adjust. You want to anticipate when they're going to adjust and make the transition at the same time that they adjust. And then the passing game is going to be working for us. And Matt Patricia likes to do a lot of DBs as well. So if they're lighter in the back end, and Aaron Jones should have a field day. Now, they're going to be quicker, but Aaron Jones catching out of the backfield also can be a mismatch. Squirting into the flat. Alejandro says, nobody knows us this year. They're used to our passing ability. Yeah, this was kind of a shocker. The Cowboys game shocked the world. Now, if you're a Packers fan, because that's right, nobody gave Aaron Jones any credit. I was telling fantasy football owners to pick up Aaron Jones. And then, of course, the first few games when we were running outside more, we really didn't perform too well. But then the inside zone came along, and the Cowboys game came along, and Aaron Jones kind of blasted onto the scene. So we'll see if that continues. But it should, because we know what we've got in Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones should be a top running back in this league. We expected, even with Mike McCarthy, that we're going to use him properly, at least use him a little bit more. I still say you have to manage his reps. You want to make sure he's running this way when the playoffs come around, and hopefully we're in it. But we also want to have him fresh as possible when December at Lambeau comes around, because that's when really your running game can be a big difference maker. We've seen, even in the Brett Favre era, the Aaron Rodgers era, how important a run game has been December at Lambeau Field. And if this team wants to have a chance to play a playoff game at Lambeau Field, which is what we really want to do, and going back to the Seahawks comment, because it's not the Seahawks we play, it's the 49ers, I believe. And that's going to be one heck of a showdown, Shanahan versus LaFleur. I got that one circled on my schedule. I don't know about you. All right. If KC doesn't fix their problem, I'm feeling good about that game. The Colts and Lions definitely kind of formulated a path and exposed both the offense and defensive lines of the coach, right? Of the Chiefs right now. Good grief. I'm so excited about this team. I can't even talk right. But I am very excited, and here's why, guys. We're going to get Davante Adams back at some point, okay? Now, the thing that could push this team just so over the top, because we're going to get Davante Adams back at some point. But in the meantime, I've said this is the opportunity for one of these other wide receivers, and I know a lot of people want us to bring somebody in. I do not. I'm just going to, I know some will disagree. I'm not for that. I want one of these guys to perform. That's the very best thing for our team right now. MVS, you're not going to get anybody faster, bigger, longer than MVS in. And when he and Aaron Rodgers get dialed in, Davante Adams is on the field. Aaron Jones is threatening out of the backfield on passing downs. On out of run sets, we might have two tight ends on the field. That's going to be a real nightmare at that point. And MVS is the guy I've got scheduled, and I would be happy to call him out. Maybe I'll be doing that. Maybe I'll be doing it right now, because MVS, you've got everything it takes to be a really good number two. You've got great leadership in Davante Adams. Listen, he is down for the time being. You have got to get dialed in with Aaron Rodgers. You have got to be where you need to be, where you belong. Kumro's got you beat in that one right now, in that category. But you've got him beat in virtually every other category. You are so fat. We need somebody to take the top off of defenses from time to time. Matt LaFleur wants these explosive plays to come back. And explosive plays generally are going to be passes to you, passes to Davante Adams, big throws to Jimmy Graham. It's time to get it together, buddy. And you're not going to get, as soon as Davante Adams walks back out on the field, none of you three, Kumaro, I'm talking to you too, Geronimo, I'm talking to you, you're not going to get the same opportunity. It changes. This may be the last week that you get this opportunity. The Cowboys game may have been your opportunity, your sole opportunity. But we need one of these guys to step up. We talked about it last year when MVS, Jamon Moore, and EQ were out there. You step up, step through that door. It's wide open. Somebody's got to step through it. And I hope it's MVS, and I hope it's in this game. Because if that happens, then when Davante Adams gets back, this team is going to be really offensively almost unstoppable, I think. Now, again, are we going to be able to duplicate the success against the Cowboys? I think, in my mind, I don't want to assume that. But you look at this Lions defense, and again, I would be very much for a cookie cutter, cut and paste kind of a situation here. Now, there's going to be nuances in it. LaFleur is going to want to maybe, we're going to want to throw to the tight ends maybe a little bit more. We're going to maybe want to take an extra shot play or two to MVS, because now the Lions are going to be making that adjustment too. They may playing with a heavier box. Not that it probably matters against Jones too much. But when they do that, that's, Aaron Jones busts on the scene with 4 touchdowns, and you would expect the Lions to adjust to that. So there may be a period of time where the tight ends, Tanyan and Graham and Mercedes Lewis, are out there. And I'm actually, now that I think about it, I'm also looking forward to getting Sternberger back here, because we are now on week 6. So it's only a couple more weeks. He might be able to be back depending on where he's at. I haven't seen any news. Matt LaFleur is really tight-lipped about the injury situation. Good for him. Whatever competitive advantage he feels he gets out of it, that's fine with me. But I am excited to see that kid on the field, and, you know, especially in passing downs. So our tight end group is starting to come into its own a little bit, I think. Realistically, this might be a pretty important tight ends game for the Green Bay Packers. Again, I've said, you know, just cut and paste the Aaron Jones situation because he just doesn't seem to be stoppable right now. I am flabbergasted by the game that he had. Not just running the ball, but catching out of the backfield with 7 catches. And what was it, another 75 yards or something there in the receiving game? Very dangerous. And we love, I've said all along, we finally are starting to see it. Matt LaFleur is incredibly successful throwing out of run sets. And I've heard, you know, guys describe it as an illusion of complexity. I actually describe it the opposite. I think it's an illusion of simplicity. When you're seeing the same set and it seems simple. I've seen this set before. I know they're going to run out of it. The fact of the matter is they can throw out of any of these sets. That, to me, is the illusion is that this is simple, that this is readable. It is actually complicated because you have no idea what play Matt LaFleur is going to run out of a run set, out of obvious passing sets on obvious passing downs now. You don't know for sure that Aaron Jones isn't going to take a handoff or get the ball on a draw play because he's just that good. That 3rd and 6 plus can be gained by Aaron Jones. Chuck says this will be Graham's last year. Book it. Well, when Sternberger comes on the scene, that could very much become the case. And it looks like the feed on Facebook might be freezing up from time to time, but Get Vocal's still running pretty good. All right, so Packers versus Lions. This is a big one coming up. We've still got plenty of more time to talk about it. We'll be talking about it throughout the rest of the week. Tomorrow, I will likely go live between probably 4 and 5 Central Standard Time. In between work shifts, because I'll have a sizable break in between. And then, of course, we'll be watching all the Sunday games. I will likely go live at some point on Sunday. And then, of course, we'll try and get back because Monday is our game, but then I work a double on Monday, so we will try to get that done as we can. And look for some big-time announcements coming up soon. This is episode 976, just because numbers have become an important thing this year. And when we get to 1,000, if you're watching this on Instagram, on YouTube Live, when we get to 1,000 supporters on Facebook, 1,000 videos, we're going to give away $1,000 in Packer Pro Shop, and that does include Patreon supporters. We call them shareholders. So if you're a shareholder on Facebook, you're a shareholder on Patreon, you count. So really, we are almost at 5. We're probably a little bit over. We're at about 520 right now, and as I mentioned, we're at 976 shows. So jump on if you want to jump on our Facebook fan page, like that there. Support us there. That's 99 cents a month. Go to patreon.com/PackerNation, and you'll see my Go Deep video blog, which is also in podcast form, available to you right now, breaking down the Chandon Sullivan interception, which was probably, I know there's a lot of favorite plays of the Aaron Jones plays. It's probably my favorite defensive play of the game. And it also, contrary to what most people would think in Packer Nation, it included my favorite interception celebration of the entire game. My favorite celebration of the entire game, because I know everybody would say the Za'Darius Smith, Ray Lewis snub celebration. That was a great one. I absolutely loved it. I retweeted that moron talking about how the Packers defense didn't have any leadership in the front 7. Didn't have a captain or something like that. I forget what term he used. And I loved that celebration. But Chandon Sullivan running in and doing the Nick Collins Super Bowl interception celebration, I thought was the coolest thing. I thought that was awesome. And my son mentioned it to me. I meant to repost it, but my son mentioned that to me the day after the game. And now it's finally sort of getting around that Chandon Sullivan, he tweeted it. He's like, I just wanted to give a shout out to Nick Collins. Pretty dang cool. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for me today. I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll roll into a weekend where we don't have to worry about the Packers on Sunday. We can talk about them all Sunday long. You can watch all the games. And then Monday, the Packers hopefully can go 5-1 on a season where we really could be undefeated right now, but putting ourselves in a really great position. Second game of the second quarter of the 2019 season. All right, you guys have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon. Go Pack.